Here again with another Shameless Season 5 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important. If you aren't caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Shameless, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for all of you that want to know, this is my second time watching this series. This will be Shameless Season 5, Episode 2. The title of this episode is called I'm the Liver. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. Frank's happy. It's a new day, and he's still alive. Fiona's free at last. Time to take off the ankle bracelet. Now, from what I know, you're not supposed to take the ankle bracelet off. Isn't your PO supposed to do that? I don't know for sure, but that would be something that's a very bad penalty unless she just puts it back on when her PO comes over. Kev wants pancakes because it's Father's Day, so almost perfect timing with it almost being June. In 3 or 4 weeks, but it's close enough. V calls her twins spawns of Satan. Fiona has removed her bracelet officially. Now she's free. Tommy wants Lip to lift concrete into the Bobcat. Now, Lip thought that he would be essentially driving the Bobcat, but that's not the case because Tommy is the one that's licensed to do that. So he's got to really work his ass off. This isn't the alibi. You work for me. You do what I say, Tommy tells Lip. Fiona flirts with Sean, showing her naked ankle to him. Carl says chicks dig wheelchairs, so he's still in the wheelchair. I don't even remember this happening in my original watch of the show, so interesting that some things I just don't remember, and I don't remember Carl ever being in a wheelchair. A man knocks on the door of the Gallagher house and says that Frank Gallagher has his son's liver. And he wants to talk to Frank, but they say to go to Sheila's place. Sammy wants to have a Father's Day meal at the Gallagher house for Frank, and Fiona isn't going to go for it. You know Fiona doesn't really like Frank, and Sammy calls Fiona cynical. Ian is going to go to a funeral for a person that served his country, probably a vet or somebody he was close to at one point. I don't know if they actually said who it was. Holly is back. Debbie's annoying friend, the blonde, and says Carl looks good in his wheelchair. So yes, they apparently do like wheelchairs. Somebody doesn't leave Fiona a tip, and she actually goes to chase them out. Now, this person was asking her for, butter, this, sugar, all these different things over and over. She's like, anything else? Why is she staying there? The second she walks away, can we have this? So, with all that hassle that he gave Fiona, he doesn't leave a tip. So she chases them out the door and yells at them. She even calls the dad of this group. It was a mother, a father, and I think a son, if I remember correctly. She calls him fat ass. And then the wife actually slaps Fiona. And then Sean comes out and steps in, says if you can't afford to tip, then you can't eat here. And then the fat guy calls Fiona a slut while talking to Sean. And that actually makes Sean snap to a point where Fiona's like, whoa, let him go. Fiona's lip is bleeding from the slap, Sean says, but she's okay. Kev takes the twins to the park. Svetlana shows up and starts to breastfeed at the park, sitting on the bench that's next to Kev. And he looks over and I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at I was looking at your boobs, but they're nice, and yeah, he got caught. But no, so Svetlana doesn't care. And she tells Kev that her husband has no interest in baby, but Orange Boy, he helps. So Ian to Svetlana is Orange Boy. And Kev's like, she's like, who helps you? And he's like, V helps, but she works a lot. And then Svetlana starts breastfeeding one of his kids. I don't remember, it was Amy. I think it's Amy and Gemma, if I remember correctly. I think she starts to breastfeed Amy. I could be wrong on the name there. And then Holly, we see, is making out with Carl. Debbie has to witness it. And honestly, I kind of miss Bonnie from season 4. Even though she was kind of insane with the shit that she'd do, I think she was good for Carl. And it's like the first real love interest for Carl Gallagher. And Sean asks Fiona, why are you starting shit? Like, he doesn't like that. And Fiona's like, hey, he did it. It was his fault. But you chased him out there. She's like, well, he was a pain in the ass, and that's what I did. Frank gets back to Sheila's after his fun with his Milk of the Gods and sees a happy birthday banner on the fence. And by the looks of this banner, like, shit's all messed up on it. And he says he thinks Chucky's mildly retarded and someone should tell Sammy. Now, some people get offended by that word. I'm just saying what was said in the show. And there'll be one other thing that was said in this episode of the show that some people might take offense to. I'm just merely stating what I heard or what I thought I heard. Sometimes I didn't hear the whole thing. And Frank says that it's a sad display of mental displayed art. Someone offered Sheila double the money for her house. It was a couple of lesbians, apparently. Mickey ends up going to the funeral with Ian, and here's the part where people might get offended, so I'm just merely saying some of what I heard in the episode. Church people are outside the funeral, and they're chanting, God chose soldiers, and something about faggots. Again, I'm just merely stating what I heard in the episode. I can't make out exactly what they said with the faggot part, but that's what they were chanting. And then the Tribune, we find out, has named the neighborhood. This is asked to Sammy by Frank. Why would two lesbians come here wanting to offer money for the house? The Tribune, the Chicago Tribune, has named the neighborhood an up-and-coming area. And then the guy who's the father of the person, the son that gave his liver to Frank because he died, comes to Sheila's and invites Frank to a meal. Prime rib. It was his son's favorite. Sheila can come. Sammy can come, but of course they don't want Sammy to come, so they try to avoid her. And then Sean's kid shows up to Patsy's. Not much there, just showing that Sean's an affectionate father. And we have Fiona serving the musicians, and they notice the main one. I don't know his name offhand. I know one of the members' names, but that's Gus. We'll get to know about him later. Not having her ankle bracelet on, and it's noticed, and now you can come party with us, essentially. Kev's really having a great time talking with Svetlana. Deb wants Svetlana to teach her how it works. How do you make guys watch you or want you? Sheila talks about seeing Jody and Karen. Like, she wants to sell the place, get a motorhome, and go see Jody, Karen, and whatnot. And then Sheila tells Frank that she hates Sammy. And Sheila, for the most part, gets along with everybody. Even Frank's mom. At first they had issues, but they kind of got along until she killed her. But she was helping her die. So she tells Frank she hates Sammy. She can't stand the sight of her. She doesn't want anything to do with Sammy, and kind of Chucky, but it's mainly Sammy. And then Ian asks Kenyatta, and that's Mandy's boyfriend, who I always forget his name because he's not really focused on much. So if they say his name, it like goes through one ear and out the other. I went out of my way to look it up this time just so I could not just say Mandy's boyfriend. But he wants some firepower. And Kenyatta tells Mickey to get his bitch in line. Now, Mandy knows Ian is freaking out over these evil church people and what they were saying. And Mickey doesn't want to call Fiona because all she'll do is just call a shrink to have Ian potentially committed or looked upon or observed. And he doesn't want that. Lip made it through the day working for Tommy. And he's like, yeah, no problem. It wasn't a problem at all. And as soon as everybody else leaves, Lip turns the corner and kind of falls down. And he is just sore and beat to shit. And everybody's going to meet up at the alibi later because that's what they do. Mandy sees Lip, and she looks really pretty now with her new hair color. And Lip even says, "Your hair looks nice, your new color," and she flips him off. And then Sammy gets into Sheila's place while they went to the prime rib meal for the person that gave Frank the liver. That's where the episode title is, "I'm the Liver." And she gets into Sheila's place through the window and wants Chucky to take a shit on or near her furniture. Like a big turd is left on like a tray on the table, I believe, or maybe it was left on the couch and Sheila put it on this. I don't know for sure, but it was a big turd. And then Mandy actually goes to the church that, the people that were protesting or saying their inappropriate comments about God shows, whatever. I don't remember what the exact line was. And she's actually doing this to be undercover. They're trying to set them up. This is all a part of Mickey's elaborate plan. Fiona asks Sean about going to see the band at a NA meeting. And Sean actually blows Fiona off when she was like trying to play footsie with them and kind of touch him and all that. And he just leaves. Sammy and Chucky arrive at the dinner because they went in Sheila's house and saw the card where the address was. Mandy actually seduces the priest at the church. Svetlana teaches Debbie a subduction face and cuts her hair a bit where Debbie looks, very attractive compared to what she did before. Just it highlights things on Debbie that weren't highlighted before. And then Fiona goes downstairs and Sean is actually in the kitchen of the Gallagher house and he tells Fiona he can't go with her. He wants to, but he can't. He tells her those NA meetings saved his life. And she is essentially chaos, follows her around. He finds it charming as fuck that she took her monitor off, her ankle monitor bracelet, and he says that he hopes she keeps coming to the meetings, but find a different place to sit. So Sean wants to be with Fiona, but there's just so many things that could get screwed up if he goes with Fiona. V comes home to see Svetlana breastfeeding her daughter and then sees that Kev has buzzed all of his hair off. So there's a point where he is holding one of the twins and they grabbed his hair. He's like, ow! So he buzzed his hair, so that's not an issue anymore. And V says she loved that hair. You need your baby you fed our baby hooker milk and shaved your head. And V is actually furious. Now the pastor has come over to see Mandy at the Malkovich place, and she's about to go down on this guy and give him a blowjob, and he closes his eyes. And then it's an elaborate plan that Mickey organized to have another person in their group, which I don't know the character's name. He takes her place, and Mickey, Ian, and another guy are video recording it, and this guy is giving the pastor a blowjob, and I believe he came really quickly. And this is obviously going to be blackmail. I think they're going to show it to everybody anyway, if I remember correctly. This starts the start of the whole gay Jesus thing, I think. Although I think that's season 8. I don't remember. But yeah, that's kind of what happens with that. And everybody's freaking out about Deb's new haircut, Fiona in particular. And then Fiona does tell Debbie her haircut looks pretty cute. And I thought it did too. Frank tells Tommy and Lip they're building a Starbucks to where the crew's working. They don't think they are, but Frank's like, oh, yes, they are. It's going to be the whole thing. Our neighborhood's going to be fucked up because of this. Sheila tells Sammy she tried to be her friend. She tells Sammy she's needy and slutty, and then she also gives Sammy a Ziploc bag with Chucky's turd in it. Like, it didn't faze me, bitch. And then Fiona sees an older guy dance with Debbie at, I guess I have to back up. So Fiona invited Debbie to go see the band. Debbie agreed. And then during this, Fiona's dancing with the lead singer, the guy that's interested in her. And then she sees an older guy, not really old, but older for Debbie, dance with Debbie. And she decks him. And then this guy actually decks Fiona back. And then the lead singer guy that's interested in Fiona, the musician guy, gets off the stage and punches this guy as well. Debbie and Fiona have run out of the building. And then outside the building, Debbie says, "That was insane. I can't believe you just did that." And then as Fiona sits down with her back against the wall just to kind of rest, I think she starts to realize that Sean was right. Well, chaos follows Fiona everywhere. And then Tommy and Lip are surprised to see that Frank was right about it being a Starbucks or something really similar to a Starbucks in the mid-credits scene to end the episode. So really good episode. I liked it. I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. My characters of the episode, which, are subjective. Anybody could be the character of the episode, depending on what your opinion of the show is. For this one, I'm choosing Svetlana. I really like Svetlana at the moment. And then I'm going to go with Kev for the males. You could go with Frank. You could go with Lip. But Kev just did a little bit more. So you've heard what I have to say. Now, of course, it's your turn. If you're a fan of Shameless and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hulk smash the like button. Leave a comment in the comment section about what your thoughts are. What would you rate the episode, and whom would be your male and female or just character of the episode? And repeating myself, but last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, click right here to see my Shameless series finale rant video if you've seen every single episode of Shameless. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button once again. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.